Today we are talking about the three components of effective networking conversations. And when I say effective, in this case I mean having conversations that lead to real relationships, that lead to real opportunities. Now, I know that you know that successful relationships are at the heart of everything we do. Successful relationships are the reason that our resume makes it to the top of the pile, that people create specific opportunities tailor-made for us and who we are. And relationships are the way that we get exposed to new ideas and people that we couldn't have possibly come up with or crossed paths with on our own. And yet, when the word networking comes into play, suddenly we get all stiff and formal and we lose all ability to show up as our vibrant, powerful, amazing selves and have the conversations we want to have. And so today we're going to break down the three components, not just to make these conversations effective, but to actually help you find a way in and understand how energizing and engaging and helpful these conversations can be and really be a safe space and activity that you look forward to rather than something that you absolutely dread. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share a huge mindset shift and actually a roadblock that so many people run into that stops them before they even get started and get into these networking conversations. Hi, I'm Caroline from Caroline Adams Coaching. I'm going to cover a lot of ground, so just leave whatever questions I don't answer in the comments below and I will circle back. So let's break these down one by one, and then I'll talk about why you need all three to have effective conversations. So the first pillar is you. Sounds simple, right? But as I've just explained, when we feel like we're going into a networking conversation, somehow we feel like we need to be more scripted or more formal or even pitch. Please don't pitch. I did a whole video on why you shouldn't pitch to people and what you should do instead, so check out that link. I'll share it below. This is really all about bringing your best self to these conversations, just like you would in any other conversation. Networking doesn't need to be any different. These conversations, like so many other things in life, are about leadership. And I don't mean leadership in a stiff, formal, kind of teaching in front of the class sort of way. I mean leading with the energy that you want to create and showing up exactly how you want people to know you and experience you. This is the heart of having effective, authentic conversation. So the best way to do this is so simple. Before every conversation, just get really clear with yourself on how you want the conversation to feel. Most times when I ask people this question, they say something like, I just want to cut through all the BS and get down to brass tacks, or I want to feel like I'm out to cocktails with the girls. Whatever your answer is, channel the feeling that you want to create, and I promise you the questions, the conversation, the opportunities, the relationships will flow from that. Component number two, the other person. That's right, you're talking to a real live human on the other side of this conversation. And it might sound obvious, but so many people in practice actually forget this. They choose people based on a job title or the organization they work at, and really just through the lens of thinking about what the other person can do for them. I call this transacting. Again, I've done a whole video specifically on this. Check it out, I'll link it below. But when you do this, it not only doesn't feel good to either party, but we are all so much more than our job titles or where we work. I'm sure you've had an experience where someone reached out to you in just like a canned sort of formulaic way, and you could kind of tell they were just reaching out to a bunch of people as opposed to like really genuinely wanting to know you. So don't be that person. And the best way to do this is to start with curiosity. It's that simple. Get curious with yourself first about why you are reaching out to this person in particular. What interests you about them? And then lead from that. Everything else flows from there. All right, the third and final component is the ask. And I don't mean this necessarily in a super literal sense. This is about understanding why you are in the conversation, Because if you don't know why you're in the conversation, they're not going to know why you're in the conversation. And this is where conversations can start to feel really squishy and not good. And when they feel squishy and not good, we're less likely to continue having them. Your ask can really be anything. It is the purpose for talking to this person. And so it could be broad, like, I'm super interested in the career path you've chosen, and I want to hear more about your story. It could be that you have a fledgling business idea or considering a certain career path and just want to bounce it off of them and hear their opinion and reflect back to you what they hear. But it's important that you know this so that you can have an effective conversation. Too many people have an ask, but because they start feeling weird about asking for what they truly want or talking about the support they need, they end up burying the lead. If you know that you want to work abroad in a year, or if you know you want to move to a different city and you're afraid that someone might say no or might not support you, you actually want to know the answer to whether or not they support you sooner rather than later. And the truth is that most people want to help. We are wired to support each other. We are wired for connection. Know your ask and go for it so that you can know if this is someone that you want on your team long term. So those are the three components. It's really important that you have all three because they work together. If you don't start with your authentic self, the whole conversation kind of flows from there. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to be authentic. If you're not talking to the right people, again, it's not going to feel good. It's going to be really hard to build long-term relationships, which is where the greatest opportunities and ideas come from. Effective networking is all about building long-term, mutually beneficial relationships with people you like and respect. And finally, if you're not clear on your ask, I hear this a lot actually from extroverts. Extroverts can have a lot of really good conversations. It's not that hard for them to have good conversations, but we are talking about effective conversations that lead steadily in the direction that you want to go. I said at the beginning, I'm going to share a really simple but super powerful shift in how you think about these conversations. I see so many people delay or procrastinate these conversations because they feel like they're not ready or that they need to figure things out first. Rather than thinking, I got to figure all of this stuff out and then I can start talking to people about it, know that these conversations are actually a way to first validate the ideas that you already have, and secondly, answer the open questions that you still have. Just like anything else in life, you get better ideas faster when you invite other people into your thinking. So lean into these conversations as the solution rather than trying to figure it out first all on your own. You're gonna have much better results for the long term. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm happy to hear whatever questions and comments that you have. Leave them below. Throw me a like if you thought this was helpful. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.